In progress.
There we go. Okay. Madison didn't have to do it either. Anyway, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Others I'm sure will be joining us. I'm going to ask you, or Dr. Revis and I are going to ask you to please keep yourself muted unless there is a need to unmute when it comes question and answer time. But please keep yourself muted at all times. But welcome to Gardner-Webb University. Dr. Lamb brought greetings last evening. You met Dr. Revis and me a little bit last evening, but we're the two faces that you're going to see over the next 16 weeks. You'll hear a lot. You'll hear a lot more from us than you'll see us, but you know, you belong to us now. So you know, we again, I said earlier, we take this very seriously. We take it personally, and we're just excited that you chose Gardner-Webb. We're excited to be the ones to help you, you know, and by the end of the summer, to be certified as effective school administrators, to be able to go out and change the world. And we've got a big world of change right now with everything going on. You've got a lot of challenges with you, but welcome. Dr. Revis, would you like to bring greetings as well?
Yes, I want to just say that I am a lifelong teacher, regardless of whether I have been in the classroom or as a school administrator or as assistant superintendent. I have always been a teacher. And so I'm just love teaching 601. It just is so rewarding to see you begin your journey with us, and then at the end of the semester, see how you've grown and started looking at things more globally than in your classroom. And so it's very rewarding, and I enjoy teaching you and working with you. Dr. Stedman and I have teamed together for several semesters, and so we're like a married couple. We tend to finish each other's sentences sometimes. So just be patient with us, and we'll try not to talk over each other, but just be patient with us. And each of us have 2 classes. So if everybody's on, we're going to have about 80 people. So we don't expect that everybody can make every live session, and that's why we record. But with that many people on, we're going to ask you to have some rules here, okay? Number 1, do not use the chat box. I know you're saying, what? Do not use the chat box, because when you're using the chat box, you can't hear what's going on. Just jot down any questions you have, and we promise we will answer those at the end, okay? And if you can just hold your questions to the end, sometimes we'll answer them and you won't even have the question any longer. But we're going to try to be as personable and try to fit your needs as much as possible. But it's going to require all of us to be really good listeners during the sessions. So welcome to the journey, and I look forward to walking with you down this pathway.
And, you know, like Dr. Revis said, I will always be a teacher at heart. I'm like Dr. Revis, started out as a teacher, served as an assistant principal at an elementary school for several years, became a middle school principal, went to the high school, was at the high school as a high school principal for several years, and spent my last years at the superintendent's level, as Dr. Revis did as well. So, you know, we've run the gamut from the beginning all the way to the top. So we hope that those experiences are going to prove valuable to you. We know what we're talking about. Now, do we have all the answers? No, nobody does. But we feel like that our experiences and our backgrounds are going to help you as you're moving forward in this journey. I'm going to ask you to do something at this point, and it's just, you know, you're going to have to think about it. You're going to find I'm the hat man, simply because I don't have anything up there, and I don't want the glare from my light to keep you from being able to see everything that's going on. But I like wearing hats. Dr. Lamb talked about last evening about beginning to see things through a different lens. And, you know, I wear glasses. So, you know, when I take my glasses off, I can't see things. Things are not as focused as they are when I put my glasses on. So when I put my glasses on, I see things more clearly. But I want you to literally think about this. While teachers are some of the most important people in the whole world, I am not devaluing them in what I'm saying. But you tonight, this evening, this is the beginning of a new life for every one of you. And I want you to just literally, I want you to think about this. I'm wearing a hat. This is my teacher hat. Okay. I'm going to take my teacher hat off. You got to take that teacher hat off. You've got to take the lenses off that you've always looked through as a teacher. You've got to put a pair of glasses on. And as you look through them, you got to begin thinking, this is how a principal sees things. This is how an administrator sees things. This is how a superintendent sees things. This is how a supervisor from the central office, this is how they see things. And you take that teacher hat off and you put your principal hats on. Today, Dr. Revis and I, today, we name every one of you a 21st century principal, a 21st century administrator. Therefore, as we are moving forward, you can know, you don't forget that you were a teacher. You don't forget, you know, all those, because that's important. You've got to always remember, but you've got to begin thinking about how, you know, what, as a principal, how do I approach it? Because you're going to approach it a lot differently than you do as a teacher. And over the next, I would say over the next 3 to 4 weeks, you're going to, the light bulb will come on, and you're going to start, you're going to think, and you'll probably say it out loud, you know, now I understand why my principal did what he or she did. Now I understand why they said what they did. Now I understand why that, you know, why that mandate came down from the central office. And when you're with your teacher cluster groups and you're in your professional learning communities, when people begin to say things that they used to say and you were there, you're going to want to say something. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, but you're going to think, I don't agree with them anymore. So you're going to find yourself beginning to separate yourself, because you're not going to think like them anymore. If that was the case, you would not be where you are. Does that make sense? Dr. Revis, any comments before we move on about that?
I don't think so. I love the hat analogy because it is something very physical that you can look at. But that's our goal, is to make you look at things more broadly and more holistically. And, you know, it's just the truth. You're going to start looking at things with a whole different lens and from a different perspective. I want to underscore one thing that Dr. Stedman said, but don't ever forget what it's like to be a teacher. Now, some of you may already be outside of the classroom. You may be an instructional coach, a curriculum facilitator. You may even be an acting assistant principal. So you know what we're talking about. But for those of you who've never been outside your 4 classroom walls, we are excited to go on this journey with you.
And you will find in your course shells, first of all, I'm going to bring this up and then I'm going to take it back down. This is our agenda for today, and we're going to try our best to follow it. We have a lot to cover. Dr. Revis and I are going to piggyback on each other, but under week 1, you will be able to find this document. So, you know, if you want to pull it up and put it to the side and follow us, you can. I'm going to minimize it because I need to be able to talk to us specifically about Blackboard. Dr. Revis, if you would, Dr. Lamb talked to him briefly, and tonight is more of an setting the stage more of an information meeting, more of making sure that you understand and know how to maneuver through things. So please bear with us. If you've already done this and you understand it, I think there's still some relevance in going through this, and you may learn something that you really didn't know. So please bear with us, because we have to make sure that you understand where you need to go and what you need to do once you get there. Dr. Revis, if you would just talk to them specifically about your and my roles and the clinical coach 1 roles.
Okay. So if I'm listed as your instructor, and you would either be in section C4 or section C12, then I'm the person who is going to give you feedback on your work and is going to ultimately assign your grade at the end of the semester, and ultimately tell you when your evidence work is ready to put in task stream. But I'm also the clinical coach 1, and we'll call it CC1, for Dr. Stedman's 2 classes. And so I come online if Dr. Stedman
No, you're
said,
you're CC2, Dr. Revis.
A CC2, that's right, I'm sorry, CC2. See, I can't even keep them straight.
That's okay.
How do we expect these guys to?
That's okay.
I'm your clinical coach too. So every once in a while, Dr. Stedman may look at your work as the instructor and say, how about getting in touch with Dr. Revis and let her work with you a little bit? Maybe you need a little bit more coaching to get your work up to where it needs to be in order to score proficient on your, not only on your coursework, but on your task stream artifacts. So we work together like that, and we coach each other's classes, but that's only if you need that extra support.
And a lot of times you'll find that Dr. Revis and I, we will even, we may find 2 or 3 students that are struggling with the same thing. So we may just have a Zoom session with those 2 or 3 to help curtail whatever the problem is. We work however we need to work collaboratively together to make sure that you're successful in what we do. So, but your clinical coach 1, those are the ones that Dr. Lamb talked about last evening, that will be making the virtual site visit to your school with you and your principal. I think somebody told me that they still had not heard from their clinical coach 1. Again, after this evening, if you're in my class, if you're in my 2 classes, and that's the C2 and the C10 classes, then you need to send me an email telling me that you haven't heard from your clinical coach 1. And if you're in C4 and C12, you need to do the same thing with Dr. Revis, and we will reach out to your clinical coaches 1s, and we will find out where the miscommunication is on that. So just know that.
And let me just say too, I know that we've said this in a couple emails, you need to go ahead and link your email, Gardner Web email, to your phone so that it comes through, or go ahead and do your own icon to it. You've got to be checking your Gardner Web email at least once a day. I check mine multiple times a day, and so does Dr. Stedman. When I get an email, it pops up on my phone, and I have to address it, or I can't move on. But you have got to be in communication with Gardner Web, with the instructors, with the coaches, and you just got to be checking that email.
And I highly encourage you do it more than 1 time a day. You need to check it in the morning, in the middle of the day if you can, and in the evening time. I would say at least 3 times a day, check your Gardner Web email. Dr. Revis and I probably check it 10 and 15 times a day. It's a constant thing with us. What I plan to do now is I am in Blackboard. This is the C2 Blackboard shell. This is what you see, my students should see when you open it up. This is the course overview. This is where I welcome you to the class. I talk about myself a little bit. This is the syllabus, and Dr. Revis has the same thing. These are the points that you will earn. This is the minimum points that you have to be able to get an A in the class. Now, don't think that when you say, well, I get there, well, I don't have to do anything else. That is not true. you've got to be able to, you've got to complete all Blackboard assignments and evidence work to qualify for that A, even though you may have the points. So you got to plow to the end of the road. You can't stop. When you get there, you can't get halfway down that row and say, I'm not going to hoe the rest of it. You got to hoe to the whole end of the road. And you got to complete, what you started. So this is ultimately, at this point, I want to say this is where everybody is, Dr. Revis, that, the A. If you don't make this, if you don't make an A in this class, then it's your fault. It's not going to be my fault, and it's not going to be Dr. Revis's fault. It will be your fault if you do not make an A in this class. So, I don't, that's what we expect that from you. On this page also, you will see you'll see these in multiple places. This is where you can go and find the link that you used to join our class today. That's in yellow. The ones on Thursday nights. Now, Thursday nights will not be the whole 16 weeks. We've got them scheduled for the first 4 weeks, and the fourth week is optional. We will determine at the end of 3 weeks whether we need to do the fourth week or not. But they're there, and you will always use the same link to join us for our Thursday evening sessions. If Dr. Revis and I decide that we want to do something individually or with a small group, we will create a new Zoom link specifically for that. So, this is for Thursday sessions only, when we have Thursday sessions, and you'll always know when they are. This is last evening's the town hall, and you will see this, that will come out at some point, but under week 1, you will see the recording from Dr. Lamb for that town hall. Everything always goes under week 1 or whatever that week is. Everything for that week that we record or whatever we do goes under that. Most of you have done this already, but if you have not completed the enrollment verification activity, then you need to go ahead and Blackboard and take care of that immediately. All online students are required to do that. That's for registration purposes for the registrar's office. If you haven't ordered your textbooks, then you need to get on that immediately. I would encourage you probably at this point to go through Amazon. You can get them cheaper anyway, and to go ahead and to get them as fast as you can. The readings are vitally important, and you don't want to get behind on that. And this is a list of the books we will use in the seventh edition of the APA manual, and only the 7th edition. So if you have any other edition that is not acceptable, you must have the 7th edition. And this will be talked about more at throughout the evening, and then on Thursdays as well. I want you to look over to the left. This is what we've just done, the course overview. Course content, these are your handbooks. If you click on that, then you're going to see this is and you'll find these in multiple places as well. That's just a quick location for your MELS scale handbook, the site supervisor handbook, and the MELS clinical internship handbook. My grades, that's for you. As Dr. Revis and I give you grades, you can hit that, and you can constantly go here and you can check your grades. This is for you, it's not for us. But all of the activities that will receive a grade in Blackboard, this is where you go. Now, many of you have done this already, and I'll show it to you. This basically was this was a test right here to see if you had been in Blackboard, if you had discovered it. Where was it? That tells you, no, that's not it. I'm sorry, that's not it. Anyway, this is for you. This is for your grades. So just know that this is where you check your grades. The attendance section, that's for Dr. Revis and me. This is where we will go on every Monday. We will usually go in probably between 9 and 10 o'clock that morning. And the work that is due to us on Sunday night by 9 o'clock, we do sometimes give you the benefit of the doubt, and we will wait until then. But if this evidence work and it has not been submitted on schedule, then you don't get credit for having attended class that week. So, and if there's an extenuating circumstance, then you need to make sure that you have communicated with Dr. Revis and me. And again, we know that things happen, but we also realize that we cannot, even if we say this time, it shouldn't happen consistently. So you need to make sure that your work is done, you pace your time, your week, and you get your work ready and submitted in a timely manner. This is just from Gardner-Webb University, because it is a faith-based school. This is talking about it being a Christian community, and there's some good resources in there as well from Gardner-Webb University. This is support services. If you click on that, this is where you can go and find help with Blackboard if you're having problems. If you're having technical support, don't call Dr. Revis and me, because I can't help you with it. I promise you I can't. But if you click on this, it'll tell you where you need to email or call to get technical support from Gardner-Webb University. The same thing with Blackboard orientation and help, academic support help. This is all resources available to you through the university. So you need to click on this, and you need to become familiar with it and know what services are out there, and avail yourself to it if it's something that you need. Again, these are your handbooks and your competency folio resources. When you click on that, these are the same thing as the handbooks up there that I showed you earlier. And your competency folio resources that we're going to talk about on a Thursday night, probably not this week, but when Task Stream is ready, we'll talk more about your competency folio. And Dr. Lamb usually takes the lead on that. But just know that we will be referring back to this area, because this is where you will find the materials and resources that you need to assist you with the competency folio. There's no reason in us talking about it tonight, because it's not relevant to you tonight, but that's where you would go. The Zoom tutorial. All of you should know what Zoom is, and you probably have lived it for the last almost 2 years of your life in some form or fashion extensively. You need to do the Zoom tutorial, or if you need to, but you need to set up your own Zoom account. And as Dr. Lamb said, you can set it up free. If you go to your Mel's handbook, scale handbook at the very end, it shows that it shows you how to set it up on your own. If you don't know how, this tutorial will show you as well. You need to set up your own Zoom account, and it will give you about 40 minutes of Zoom time that you will need throughout this semester. So everybody needs to set up their Zoom tutorial. The next thing, and we'll click on this, these are your Zoom teams. Dr. Revis, if you would talk to them, what's the purpose of a Zoom team?
Well, there's several purposes, but from a leadership perspective, what we're trying to do is, number one, have you working in a virtual PLC, if you will, focus on the work of your class. But more than that, what we want you to do is start being comfortable or becoming comfortable with giving feedback to adults. In your classroom, you're very comfortable with giving feedback to your students, but now we're talking about giving feedback to adults. And here what we're looking for is you're going to review work of 2 other people in your Zoom teams. And you will hopefully bond and have a good relationship, and you will keep these same Zoom teams all the way throughout your 3 semesters, unless somebody drops out and we have to, you know, shift them around a little bit. But hopefully you will build that relationship with each other and build that trust and respect. And what we're trying to do here is give you that opportunity to give that formative feedback, that timely feedback, that specific feedback that you know helps students learn. We want you to do that with your colleagues and your Zoom team members. We will also have some Zoom sessions where you will come on together and you will be doing some case study work, and we'll talk about that later on. But again, you're going to be working peer reviews and Zoom teams looking at some case studies. So one of the things that you need to do is go ahead and upload your contact information to your team members. Now, Dr. Stedman, I realized that it wasn't until late yesterday evening that I got my full class roster for my C12 section. So I built those Zoom teams late last evening. So you may want to go in there and look. And again, be sure you're uploading your contact information, not only for your Zoom team members, but we have access to that as well.
And if you go in here and you discover, if first of all, if we misspelled your name or something, let us know. If you do not find your name with a team, you need to let us know, because that could be an oversight, you know, on Dr. Revis and my part as well. But this is where you will find the teams that you will be working with probably for the next 3 semesters for the most part, unless there's a need to change something. If we don't ever want anything to be smaller than 3 people in a team, and we like to have at least a minimum of 4 if possible. This was that hidden assignment that Dr. Revis and I talked about. This is where you know, many of you have found this already and you've already completed this. If you haven't, then you need to go ahead. You get 1 point, and all that does is let Dr. Revis and me know that you're in Blackboard, that you're present and accounted for. But it also lets your Zoom team members, you know, know how to get in touch with you as well. But it helps us as well, because if for some reason there would be a need to call you at some point, we know that we can go here and we can find your phone numbers, your cell numbers, and we can reach out to you that way if necessary. So it helps us as well. So if you have not completed this activity, then, you know, please go ahead and take care of that immediately.
And I want to emphasize one more thing here, guys. When we email each other, we want to use Gardner Web email. It is very frowned upon for us to open up emails from outside sources. So always use your Gardner Web email when you're emailing us and your colleagues in the class. Okay.
Okay, I'm not gonna click on this. This is where you will find your 601 syllabus. It's the same thing in Dr. Revis's class and in my class. The only thing you'll find differently is in Dr. Revis's class, it will have her name and her information. And in my class, it will have my name and my contact information. So that's your syllabus, and it carries a lot of the information in your handbooks is repeated in that as well. Next, you will find your weekly class schedule. Now, with that, this is your weekly class schedule, and I'm going to click on that. It'll come up in a minute. It's slow. There it is. This is your weekly class. Let me go ahead and enable it. There it goes. You will find that for the 16 weeks, this is what you'll find. Week 1, which is this week, already we've had the town hall. This is tonight's session. This is announcing that you will have 2 sessions this week. and that's Thursday night's coaching session. The next column, this will be the resources and the reading that you need to do every week, okay? And that, again, that's independent, that you're on your own with that. You're required to do that. We will remind you of it, but this is, you need to make sure that you've covered everything that it tells you to do in that area. And these will be always the assignments for that week. For instance, this week, your job is to become knowledgeable of the professional learning community or the PLC process. And you're gonna, I know you deal with this at the school level, but this is gonna be a lot of what we talk about over the next 2 to 3 weeks. So you're just basically looking again at what is in your reading and what does the research say. The following links will assist with understanding in addition to the assigned readings, and all of this is about the PLC. You're going to learn a lot of new stuff about the PLC that you don't know. This is referred to the materials section in Blackboard, and I'll get to that in just a few minutes for additional PLC information. And notice this, everything that you see in red, that is going to be dealing with evidence 1. Now, over the course of this program, you will be responsible for completing 6 evidences to this semester. We're beginning with, and we call it the APSL, and that is an analysis and action plan for student learning. We begin with the student. And then about midway the semester, we will complete the APSL, and you will do the APTEL, which is an analysis and action plan for teacher empowerment and leadership. We go from the student to the teacher, and then there will be 4 other evidences that you will complete over the course of the program that I'm not going to talk about that this evening because we don't have time to go into all of that. But notice, we're going to just basically, we're going to do a brief introduction of this tonight or this evening, and then we're going to talk about it in more detail on Thursday in our when we come together as a coaching session. But notice, the draft for task 1 that we're going to talk about tonight is due at the end of next week. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday. So you need to go ahead and be thinking what they're talking about tonight. I've got to get started on it this week because my draft is due next week. And what you will find after next week, your draft is due. You will turn in draft 1 of task 1 of the APSL. And then the very next week, which will be week 3, you will be working on the draft of task 2. But guess what is going to be due on that Sunday? The final task 1 for a final grade. So after that second week, you will always have 2 things that will be due every week. That will be a new draft and a final grade based on the task that you worked on the previous week. And we'll talk about that more in just a little bit. This again will tell you how to set up your Zoom account. And notice this, and you will find this. All assignments are due in Blackboard no later than 9:00 p.m. on the Sunday night of that week. This is week 1. This is the 20, yesterday was the 23rd, the 29th. Anything that would be due to Blackboard, and there really won't be anything due to Blackboard except just that contact information, for this week. But if there, that basically is an assignment because that lets us know that you know how to get in there and you know what to do. But there's no major assignments due other than reading, preparing yourself, and getting some things ready that we're going to be talking about. We follow the same format throughout the semester for week 2 all the way through week 16. Let me minimize this. And again, I know that this is it's just important that we do it. And then underneath that, again, these are the these again where you can find where to log in each week for your class sessions.
And I want to just say, if I could interject right here,
Yeah.
guys, this is a compacted program and it's an accelerated program. We go very quickly. And I'll just tell you this, you're going to have to make sure that you put aside some time, like Dr. Lamb said last night, to work on your Gardner Web work. And, you know, talk with your families, whatever. It's going to be intense. And if you can make it through to week 4, you're going to be fine. We just beg you to hang with us until you get through week 4, and you'll see how things will get in a rhythm. You'll learn, because as Dr. Stedman just said, we get into a pattern of when things are due, and you'll understand better about how to manage your time better. Right now, you don't know. We get it. But if you will please make a commitment, I'm going to hang with this for 4 weeks. We will get you through. I promise you.
And again, and that is a promise we stick with too. Next, you're going to hear us talk about peer reviews, and you've heard Dr. Revis mention that already. This is where you will find everything that you need to know about the peer review process. Dr. Revis, I don't think we need to go in because we're going to do something on Thursday evenings with that process, and we'll talk about that more specifically next week because they don't have a peer review right now. So, but this
right, your peer review teams and your Zoom teams are the same team.
Right. Case studies, you will do. This is where when we talk about case studies, and that's coming on down the road, you'll do 2 this semester, and you'll do those. You'll do some independent work, but you'll also be working with your peer review. I mean, with your Zoom teams to complete some work with that as well. But everything, when we talk about case studies, this is where you will go and find your case study materials, okay? This is a video library. You need to just look into that, and you need to see what's there and to see if it's something that you need. It's there, and we can actually do videos along the way, and we can say, go to the video library, that's where you'll find it. However, the recordings for each week will be found under that particular week. Everything for week 1 will be found under week 1. So that's where you will find the recordings that you will need, for this particular week. This is very important. APA format materials. We've got a lot of materials embedded in this section for you as it relates to the APA format. Your link to the library, other information. Dr. Revis, if you would talk to them briefly, just very briefly about APA, the library, and what's coming up.
Okay, I think our links are on the page, course overview page. We do require you to use correct APA format. Now, we're not bears on it, but you need to get it right. You need to learn how to do proper citations and proper references and those kinds of things. So you will have some training in that. In fact, down toward the bottom of our course overview page, there are 2 sessions from which you can choose to attend. One, right here we go, with Dr. Bishop, and she's with the Gardner Webb Dover Library. Next week, you have a choice of going on Tuesday at 6 o'clock or Thursday at 6 o'clock, right before our class and coaching session meets. You only need to go once, but she will show you some information about APA style, and she will also show you how to do searches in order for you to do your research that you're required to do this semester. So Dr. Stedman and I will probably attend both those sessions, but you only have to do one of those sessions. We will talk about APA. Again, you've got to learn it. And we'll talk more about that as we go through and look at your first work.
Okay. Dr. Revis, I think for time's sake, I think we're going to go into this and we're going to go ahead and introduce very briefly the 5 tasks of the APSL. Just quickly overview and show them that these are the tasks and prompts, and then where the template and materials are. And then next week we'll talk about where they start putting their work, because they don't need to do this yet. So this is not important. I don't want to run out of time tonight. This is important that we look at this. This is evidence of 1. This is where the journey begins.
One of the things I love about Gardner Webb, guys, is all of the evidences and tasks we ask you to do are authentic tasks that you would have to do if and when, not if, but when you become an administrator. So I love that about the program, but it does require you to work with people within your school. So we're going to introduce the first whole task to you, but then we'll come back and look at each one individually, okay?
Okay. This is again, remember, this is the analysis and action plan for student learning. There are 5 tasks that you'll be responsible for. The first one being, the professional learning communities. The second one, you'll be doing an academic needs assessment. The third one, you'll be working with best practices. The fourth one, you'll be doing an action plan for student learning. And then the fifth one, task 5, is a reflection on the 21 competencies, there's 21 competencies and dispositions, but you will be responsible for doing, it's 13 this semester, right, Dr. Revis? 13 this semester. I mean, 13 with the APSL and 8 with the
Yes.
That's what
Right.
it is. Okay, you need to take the time to go through all of this, look at what the definitions of the terms or concepts. You need to look, and again, these are the required competencies right here that we'll be talking about later on. Then it breaks down each of the tasks, what you've got to do. And I'm rushing through this because I want to go somewhere else. You need to look at all this. You need to read it carefully. It tells you step by step what you've got to do, step by step. All five tasks. I'm going to come out of that, Dr. Revis, because I want to take them to, and I'm going to come back to the scoring rubric. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to come back to that, but I want to take them to the APSL template and materials section. This is where you're going to find pretty much everything you need to get started. The template is, it's like a fill in the blank. You follow the map that's been given to you. You'll see the cover page. The only thing is, you put your name here. It belongs to you. And then you'll see everything that's in black are instructions. If it's in black, that means it stays. You do not do anything with the black except you put it back into the template and you use it with the work that you're doing. If it's in yellow, if you see something highlighted in yellow, that means that you've got to do narrative work. You've got to put something there. You've got to write something. And once you write it, you take the yellow highlighting out. If it's in red, that means it's a reminder, and we're giving you some, almost like some cheat notes to help you with better understanding what it is that you've got to write there, to help you with adding your text and doing what you've got to do there. And once you write your text, you take that red away again. Again, the black stays, The yellow means that you've got to write something, and the red, those are that helps you write whatever you've got to do in the yellow. Those are like cheat notes. Dr. Revis, anything you want to say at this point?
No, that's perfect. And guys, this is what you work from. This is going to be the actual thing you'll pull up, and you will load your work right in here. It's not that we're spoon feeding you, because after this semester, we don't give you this, but for this semester, we want you to see the pattern of work that your evaluators are going to be looking for. Our goal is to get your work up to the level of being accomplished when that evaluator scores your work.
Right. Okay, now I'm going back to this is back to the APSL template and material section. There's an APSL example. This is a completed APSL example. Now, is at least proficient work? It may not be accomplished work, but at least it shows you a completed APSL, how it's supposed to be done, gives you some idea of the narrative work and other things that go in there. So you need to become familiar with that. I would download all of these materials, and I would have them, in a notebook or in some plastic slides right beside me, so that you've constantly got something that you can look at when you're doing your work. Now, this is a document that we have created. It aligns itself with everything else that we've shown you so far, but what we've made an effort to do is we've made an effort to take everything that you've got to do with evidence 1, and we've made an effort to put it more in layman's terms.
I like to think of this as your step-by-step.
Okay. Dr. Revis, would you like to begin looking at the helpful hints document?
Sure. Now, one thing I will say, this evidence is a simulation of what you would do in a school improvement plan for improving student learning. Okay. So you have to put on your principal's hat now. What you are doing is you're pulling together a team of educators to delve into looking to improve student learning. All right. So before beginning the work, you need to have a conversation with your principal, because the principal has to give you permission to do any of this authentic work within the school. And so you're going to be asking permission to formulate a PLC within your school looking at student learning. Now, we're going to get all kinds of questions about, can I use the PLC that I've already been established at my grade level? We'll answer all those questions as we move forward. But the first thing that you've got to understand is it's not just being a part of a PLC. You are facilitating that PLC. You have to demonstrate leadership in facilitating that PLC. And you are looking at student performance data. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is create a school profile. And
Dr. Revis, can we go back to, okay, already this week, this is what you need to do. You need to have an understanding. You need to have an understanding that you've got to lead a PLC. You've got to create and lead a PLC that is not the same as what your school is already doing, because you want to take your school to the next level. It must be about student achievement. So your PLC can't deal with discipline. It can't deal with attendance and those kinds of things. It must be something that can be measured by a test. So you're going to look at literacy. You're going to look at math. You're going to look at something that is that is tested at your school. You're going to look at those subgroups, and you're going to say, your principal already knows probably where the weaknesses are. So when you talk with them, they're going to say, I already know. However, this process will guide you to the most pressing need that we're going to talk about later on. But just remember, it must be something that can be measured by a test in the end. Okay? Go ahead, Dr. Revis.
Okay, and so the first thing you're going to do is create a school profile where you tell a story about your school. Now, you can go ahead and start working on that this week, and I'm sure you can find documents. If you've got accreditation documents, you would have some information in there from which you can pull. Your school report card is going to be invaluable to you throughout this whole PLC work. So become familiar with your school improvement, school report card, so you can pull data from there that you're going to talk about and paint that narrative picture of your school and community.
And remember, see what we've got it highlighted in yellow. So that means you got to do something, right? You got to write.
And that's your heading, school profile.
Yeah. And your school profile, yes, that's your heading. And just remember, you're telling the story of your school. Every school has a story, it has a history. We need to understand, the reader needs to understand every school is unique. Every school has its own uniqueness. So, we want to know what is unique about your school. What is the history behind your school? Tell us about your school. Now, this is not, you're not writing a dissertation here. It's a page, usually 2 pages at the most, when you talk about your school. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is going to be task 1. This is where you've got, once you have gotten permission to move forward with the PLC, this is where task 1 begins. Dr. Revis?
So in task 1, you're going to do some research. That's why it's so important that you attend Dr. Bishop's session next week, so you know how to use the Bulldog One research tools from our library. And you're going to do research on, with a minimum of 3 sources about what is the PLC, how is it to be conducted, etc. And we rely heavily on DeFore's model. That's kind of our seminal work that we always look at. So you're going to look at DeFore's work and some others, but go ahead and start looking at some research. And because you're going to have to talk about what does it look like, how is it to be conducted, and you describe that in your narrative work. So go ahead and start that. Then you look at your PLC selection. Why have you decided to select the members that you decided to select? And you're going to ask, well, how many? Guys, 3 to 5 is enough. But you're going to talk about why you chose these people and their credentials and what they bring to the table, what talents and expertise they bring to the table. So then you're going to actually lead your first PLC meeting. And that's where you bring them together to talk about your vision and mission of the PLC. That's where you're going to establish your meeting norms and all the resources that you will need to establish your first PLC meeting will be in your Blackboard course shell. So you need to have this PLC meeting next week, not this week, but next week. So you've got to really gear up and get this PLC meeting established and send out your notifications and get your agenda set, etc.
And Dr. Revis and I are cheating a little bit. We're giving you some of what we're going to specifically talk about on Thursday. So don't stress. We're going to break this down more on Thursday, and all of this is going to be explained more in detail. We're just kind of giving you a quick view of what's going to be expected of you so that you can go ahead and be thinking about it.
And so at the end of each task, you have to do a section for your references that you use in your narrative, and that would have to be an APA format. And you will have to create an appendix that has any artifacts that you use in that task. And we'll talk about that later, how we format that and everything. So the first task is organization. Some research about PLC, getting it organized, holding your first meeting.
That's right. Now, I'm going to we'll stop the share. Okay. Now, this is basically giving you an overview, a quick overview of basically what the semester is going to look like. You will have a lot of work. It's very writing intensive. Getting past the first, getting past this first task in the evidence is a big hurdle, wouldn't you say, Dr. Revis? And I know that you're, you know, the butterflies are, for some of you are already there. You're thinking, how am I going to do this? It's all doable. It will all come in place. You've got to just take it step by step by step. You've heard the old analogy, you know, you see the whole elephant on the table and you say, how am I going to eat that whole elephant? You can't. You can eat it a bite at a time. So you're going to take this a step at a time, one step at a time, and we're going to walk you through those steps. What I want to do,
go ahead, excuse me.
Travis, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I interrupted, I apologize.
No,
One of the things you need to be thinking about is who can you collaborate with on your PLC? Guys, it doesn't have to be a school-wide PLC. It can be as narrow as you work in a third grade team. So pull together your third grade team for the purpose of looking at your student performance and growth data in math and reading. If you're a high school teacher, it could be that you're a math teacher and you want to pull together a group of Math 1 teachers to look at your performance and growth data in Math 1. It could be that your principal says, we have an overall K-5 issue in math. I want you to pull together somebody from each grade level and let's look at math systemically. It could be, but think about trying to narrow your focus and see if you can get your principal to allow you to narrow that focus.
Okay.
Ultimately, it's up to him or her, but.
And it can't see everybody, but just I'm going to ask you, already in your head, you've been at your schools, just you're already thinking, how many of you think you already know probably what the most pressing need in your school might be? Just raise your hand. You probably know. Okay. And you probably are right, but I'm going to tell you this. Once you get past task 1 and you get into task 2, and we'll talk about that next week. I'm not going to get into that. You're going to find yourself saying, well, you know, there's been some discoveries made, Dr. Revis. Once you start disaggregating the data, you start pulling it all together and your team puts it on the table, that aha moment's going to come and you're going to say, well, I thought this, but the data shows this. You're going to begin looking at subgroups and you're going to say, you know, if this small population, if we did this, if we just took the extra effort and we focused on this group right here, you know what? It could move our school to the next level. Those are the kind of discoveries that you're going to start making, and we're going to help you get there.
I caution you not to start out with, oh, it's third grade reading. I mean, you may want to have a third grade team, but you're going to look at a lot of data and that may not be your area of need. So while you can be focused with your PLC, you know, don't put your blinders on and identify your need before you look at your data.
Dr. Revis, I'm going to do something. Todd, let me put you on the spot. Todd, what do you teach? What do you do?
I'm an elementary physical education teacher and coach boys and girls high school tennis.
That's what I thought. I thought I remembered that. Now, so this is going to get, Todd, a lot of this is going to get you out of your comfort zone, because you're going to be going into some areas that you're familiar with, but you've never really had to just dig into it like you're going to dig into it. So my challenge to Todd and to anybody else, approach this in a way that I'm going to look at areas that I've never really had to work a whole lot with, because the challenge is, that's where you're going to learn and grow. You're going to learn and grow. Don't automatically, you may have a friend or two on your team, but don't automatically get your best buddies. Find the people that you know are going to be most effective. Your best buddy may not be the best person to be on your team. You want somebody that's going to be for real. You're going to want somebody that you know has good work ethics. They don't mind meeting with you. They don't mind, giving you their true opinion on something once the facts are there, or help you see things that maybe you're not seeing. So my challenge, and Dr. Revis's challenge to you, is pick your teams wisely. Surround yourself with good people that you know are going to help. First of all, you want to surround yourself with people that's not going to make your job harder. You got enough to do already. So people that's going to support you and help you and lift you up, and people that you can trust, that's going to help you get the job done. Okay, we've said a lot, and I know that you're probably in overload, and we're past 8 o'clock, Dr. Revis. Go ahead, but it's okay. If anybody, if you need to ask us questions at this point, I know you got a lot of thinking to do, and a lot of this is going to be gone into a little more detail on Thursday night. Then we've got next Tuesday that we will start digging into a lot of this. But we couldn't wait until next Tuesday for you to at least know this is, you've got to get started. So this helps you get started. A lot of the questions, you're going to find a lot of them. You'll find them answered on Thursday night when we come together with our first Zoom coaching session. And we've deliberately laid out the coaching session so that a lot of what we've talked about in the last 30 minutes, it will be specifically laid out for you. I'm going to give you at the very end of Thursday, with the APSL, with what you've got to do, I'm going to give you a cheat sheet that's going to help you. So just know that that's coming, and it will guide you in the process. That will be the last thing that you get on Thursday after we've done our presentations. So Dr. Revis and I are going to be here for a while. If you feel like that you'll get this recording, if you feel like that you can leave now, you feel welcome to leave. We're going to answer questions. So, anybody that has a question, don't be shy. Just ask away right now if there's something that you need to ask.
Okay, so I have a question. Hi, it's Sarah.
Hey.
Hi,
So
Sarah.
I understand that we are going to start thinking about our ideas for what type of PLC we are going to do, and we should be thinking about it this week and get a good solid plan. When we talk to our principals at our school this week, and we ask them what day we can have the PLC, what do you advise? Like what day next, like it should be earlier in the week next week that we have the PLC, because the paper is due next Sunday, right? So the earlier in the week that we get the PLC done, the more time we will have to write our paper that's due on Sunday.
Exactly, Sarah. Good observation.
Is that correct?
You're exact. Dr. Revis, I see you.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dr. Revis. I see your head shaking.
Yes,
So
you're right on target, Sarah.
So when we ask our principals this week, after we have our idea, we really are going to request that we have the PLC earlier in the week for next week.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
And
All
again,
right.
some of you may end up working with existing PLCs, but you've got to take a new approach with that PLC.
Right.
So that's okay.
Okay.
Damien, no, who had their hand up? I saw a hand.
Yeah, go ahead. Let the young lady, Erin, Miss
Okay.
Erin, I can't pronounce the name. I'm bad with names. I
Okay.
think she found it before I did.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
Erin Figueres. So I have not received an invitation for the, and I think it is from you, Professor Stedman. My husband has also completed this program, and his first name is Eric. I think it may have been an invitation that was sent to my husband, E. Figueres, instead of E. Figueres 1, which is my email.
Okay, and that, you know what? Thank you. And I remember your husband.
Oh, do you?
I remember him in the program. And you know what? That may have been the case. Let me,
You're in my
Go
class,
ahead
Erin, so I may have been the one that sent it.
okay.
And I may just have typed it in and his popped up first. So I'll make a note of that, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's
Thank
right,
you.
because Erica is in your group, right, Dr. Revis?
Yes, she
Okay,
is.
so that would have been, okay, we'll take care of it though, Erica.
Erin, no problem.
I mean, Erin, I'm sorry.
No problem.
We'll get it. Okay.
But I bet you will do better in this program than your husband did.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I don't know.
Okay. Damien?
I had a quick question. Mine's real simple.
Okay.
I work at an alternative school, and let me see, I'm the only person in my department, and there's only 4 of us teachers there. So my group is pretty select.
Right. So
Do I have enough?
yes, you do. And we've dealt with the same thing before, Damien, so you'll be fine. That is your PLC.
Okay, and then I just wondered if I was gonna have enough data because I didn't want to tell everybody I only have 2 students.
We'll talk, okay?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Revis, we'll talk about that, but yours is, when you're in situations like that, it's unique situations, but you have to work with what you've got to work with.
Yes, sir. Understand. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. Okay, somebody else. Okay, Lauren.
And maybe you guys are going to cover this more on Thursday. I'm just trying to process everything that you both said. So I know we're going to meet with our principal to form the PLC and meet early next week. In that PLC next week, are we going ahead and disaggregating data?
No,
No, so we're just meeting and establishing norms and roles and,
that's all you're doing at this point.
okay, and then I'm just trying to understand and process all of the documents and Word that you have to help guide us through this task 1. Task 1 that's due at the end of next week is not disaggregating the data. It's just like our research on the PLCs and information regarding the PLC.
Right.
So which document do we type in? Right now I have the helpful hints up, but then I also had, I think, the template somewhere. And so
the helpful hints is a guide. The template is what you use.
so the template's what we use. And okay, because the helpful hints had some highlighting on it.
Right.
And I knew yellow was where we typed. So I'm just trying to get it all together, putting all the puzzle pieces together.
Good questions though, Lauren. Good questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. And I don't know who's next. Let me go down the list. Tania, I just see your name up there. What do you have? What do you need?
My question is, I'm going back to the statement earlier of establishing the PLC early on next week. I work at a large school, and we have a lot of different processes and people everywhere. And we start back to school tomorrow. So I don't know if that's enough time for me I can go to my principal or anybody. And as a matter of fact, I do PLCs myself, but for the purposes of this course, I don't know if I have enough time to do something like this earlier on next week, because I have to give people, tomorrow's Thursday, I have to give people time to look at their schedules. So that's,
I would go ahead and pick a team because you have no choice. Yeah, you can do this. Others have had the same situation. You need to find people that will work with you and don't mind being on your team. Even though you're a large school, you don't need but a small group of people to work with you.
What
I
did
know
you teach?
it's a busy time,
well,
but it's still going to have to
yeah.
happen.
What do you teach?
I'm sorry, you were cutting out. I'm a facilitator and I have PLCs myself. Like my
Okay.
next PLC is at the beginning of next week, and everybody's like, I just need to give people time to clear their schedules and just to make sure that we're all on one accord. I can go pull some people, but then at the same time, is that purposeful or intentional? If I'm doing it, today is Thursday, Friday, and then I just pull a group of people together Friday, Monday. So that's the only concern that I have, because I'm really thinking about my team and the people that I do choose and the people who I go to. I just want to make sure I give them enough time, or if this is something I'm throwing together. And that's how I feel right now.
Okay. The time schedule cannot be deviated from though, Tania, because if you get behind 1 week, that means that the next week that you're not going to be ready to do the next week's work. And to be able to complete the program in the accelerated time, the weeks and following these weeks are vitally important.
I agree. I understand that. It's just that if we have to do something like this going forward, I just need more time to be able to notify stakeholders of this is what's happening and this is what I need to do. But if I'm given that time in a short amount of time, in which I know how PLCs work and people need time to clear their schedules and also meet with me, because everybody has, their day is full. My day is full. So in doing this, I just need time. And I also going forward need to know if there's going to be situations, like how often are these PLC meetings supposed to be? I just need time to understand, to make sure I'm not missing anything.
And you will establish that with your established PLC. The norms will be that we will meet on a weekly basis, on every other week, based on what the needs are. Now, there will be a lot of meeting with the APSL. There's a lot of meetings. There's not quite as many when you get to the APTEL, but there is a lot of meetings with the APSL because you're looking at a team, at the data, and really zeroing in on student achievement. So there are more meetings with the APSL than there are with some of the other evidence work that you do.
Right. I think probably you need to think about meeting weekly with them until you get a feel for it, and then you'll back off. And there's nothing wrong with telling your PLCs that this is not typically how I like to do things, but I'm being forced on a timeline. And just be patient with me, and we will get into the rhythm of this. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but
yeah,
it's an accelerated program, and this is not typically how you like to work. And I get that, and I do appreciate that.
I do too. Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
And Natasha?
Yes, I was just wanting to know when my coach was going to reach out.
Okay. Okay, Natasha, what is your last name, Natasha?
McBride.
McBride.
I think you're mine, Natasha, aren't you?
I don't know.
I mean, I think you're in my class, or are you in Dr. Simmons' class?
I see your name on under my courses.
Okay, so Natasha, Dr. Revis will take your name, and she'll be communicating with you to find out where the disconnect is with that.
Okay.
DeAndre?
I have two things. First thing, my coach hasn't reached out to me yet either. I am in Dr. Revis's class.
Dr. Revis, get DeAndre's name as well.
Okay.
Will
DeAndre Wright Linton.
Okay.
Yes.
And we will find out what the problems are with that. I took care of one today with a student.
Okay. And then I also tried to upload my personal info to my Zoom team, but there was no link. So how do I fix, what do I need to do to get that personal information uploaded to my Zoom team?
I'll check that link for you too.
Okay.
Okay, and Dr. Revis will communicate with you, DeAndre.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
DeAndre,
Brooke?
you are not on either one of my rosters.
I'm in your 601 class on Blackboard.
Okay, can you tell if it's a C4 or a C12?
Hold on 1 second. 12.
Okay. They just populated some of those students yesterday in my rosters. So I will look into it and see what I can find. Okay.
I'm showing up on team 4. So
Okay. All right. Great.
Okay, she'll work that out for you, DeAndre.
okay, thank you.
Okay, Brooke.
I just have a quick question. What was the minimum you said for a PLC? Was it 4 or 5?
I would say 4. You can work with 4 people if that's
Okay.
what you need. I wouldn't go
Is that
more.
including me?
Yes, I wouldn't go more than 5, including you, because you can get too many people in there.
Okay, thank you.
But if you do want more, that's left up to you. It's just not highly encouraged. Okay?
Well, I teach high school and I teach EOC courses. And I know that we normally, that is something that we focus on. And I had to deal with a PLC last year. And so I know that that's what my principal is going to want me to do.
And that's
I was wanting to do one from each core subject.
And that works fine. That'll work fine, Brooke. With
Okay.
no problem. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Kristen.
Hi, so I'm in a little different situation. I'm brand new to my school this year. I've been a counselor for 5 years, but new to this school. So I'm wondering if you have any suggestions on how I can get buy-in to, here's this brand new counselor. We've been in school for 7 days and I need you to help me.
Your principal is going to be very, very instrumental.
Okay.
So I would talk with my principal. I would just say, I need you to help me to get buy-in. And your principal already knows who the right people should be to be on your team. So I would allow my principal to guide that process with selecting my team.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
And Kristen, we had a school counselor, I guess it was in fall last year, and he had the same question that you did. And he came out of this program as a superstar. He was amazed at how well the teachers responded to him, because bottom line is you have a lot of training in reading test scores and those kinds of things that most teachers don't have. So you do have some expertise. And remember, you don't have to have all the expertise. Your expertise is facilitating them to do the work. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Jennifer?
Hi, thank you. I do have a question. I am already part of a PLC that works on data weekly. We meet weekly. I'm a year-round teacher. I'm also a department chair and team lead, and I run these PLCs. Am I able to use my model? I have my norms established. I have everything, my group established of teachers and instructional coaches, things that I have there.
Yes, and that's a unique situation. And so I would say, yes, I mean, it's all right there. And
analyzing data today.
Yeah, you're fine. You'll be fine. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Kayla.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, do all 4 of the people in the PLC need to be from the same department?
No, it can be, in fact, you need to look for, if possible, there needs to be a good representation of the school if possible, but sometimes it may be like at a high school, it may be, it could be the English teachers or it could be the math teachers based on what the need is. But it can be a representation over the entire school based on what you're looking
Okay,
for.
and I'm just confused because I work in a high school too, and the PLCs have already been established over the summer. Like I was assigned to a PLC. I'm just trying to wonder, like, I guess I'm just struggling understanding what the assignment is. Like I don't understand what norms I'm supposed to be establishing.
That will come more. Let's after Thursday's class when we have another presentation on the PLC. Dr. Hamilton's going to do a specific presentation on the PLC. If you've got if there are issues, then you reach out to Dr. Revis and me, and we'll talk with you individually about that if there are issues after Thursday evening. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Trico.
Good evening.
Hey.
Hey, so I did not see my name listed in a Zoom team.
Okay. Which group are you in? Which class
That's
are you in?
C10.
C10. Okay, that would be me. Trico, let me make a note of that, and I will reach out to you. Okay.
Okay, and second part is I'm in a unique situation too. I am at the district preschool, which we do deal with data as well, but hopefully that's not a problem because it is preschool. So we have it's North Carolina pre-kindergarten, Title I preschool, and Head Start. So
yeah, I saw that in your work. That's why anyway, I thought that you were in the group. But anyway, that's not going to be a problem because there are assessments that you do there, and you would just use that assessment will become the data that you use and work with. But we'll talk with you about that. I'll check on that about your Zoom group though.
Okay, thank you.
Trika, you are in team 2. I can see it on Blackboard. I just name.
Okay, I thought it was there. Thank you for taking care of that. I thought it was there though.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me see. Alethea.
Hi, my name's Aletha Sproul, and I am a school counselor in Charlotte.
Okay.
So I work very closely already with learning support and admin as part of the student assistance team. Do we need to have a teacher pulled in for a PLC, or can my PLC be the 2 learning support teachers and maybe my assistant principal?
That can serve as a PLC if that's what you think is best for what you're going to be doing.
Okay.
That can work, yes. Okay. Brandon?
Hi, everybody. Similar to some of the other cases, I am a middle school band director, grade 6, 7, 8. And even when you talk about pulling core teachers to be part of the PLC, when I teach the kids, it's the core teachers' planning time. So even difficulties there of finding the opportunity to even meet with the core teachers when it's outside of school, whether it's before school, after school, just to find that time. So just looking for some guidance on, for one, what would be a good area to pull from a core teacher wise, because that's not my area of expertise. And then 2, is there a way to kind of help with that? Maybe 2 of the 4 administrators could be in the PLC instead of teachers, or what's some guidance on that, if you don't mind?
I would put at least an administrator in there, but you're going to have core teachers in there. But Brandon, you've established relationships over the years with some of those core teachers. I would find a couple of those core teachers that that if it means that you've got to meet after school or whatever, they're going to work with you. You just find somebody that is going to work with you. If you know they're not, don't even ask them. If you know that they're going to be a problem, don't even ask them to begin with. But you've got to have core teachers. So if that is if you've got them during their planning times, then, you know, you really will have no choice but to strategically schedule your PLCs, you know, when you can have core teachers involved in the PLC, or at least a core teacher. Wouldn't you say so, Dr. Revis?
Yes, and you know, unfortunately, you're correct that their planning is when you have the kids. So, you know, you're looking at lunch, before, after school. Not all, any of those options are popular options with teachers, but you know, find some people that you have established a good relationship with, and you know, who teach English language arts or reading or 8th grade science, and see if you can make some headway and pull together at least one core teacher, an administrator, and, you know, if you have an instructional coach, a literacy coach or something like that, they would be another good person to round out your team.
And let me say this to all of you that are still here. You know, we're living in a virtual world right now. So even if your PLC could be a Zoom meeting, Brandon, or anybody else, you may set up a Zoom meeting and meet with them virtually, you know, after everybody's had supper in the afternoon and they're home and they're settled. You may, you know, that may work better with your schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And their schedule.
And those need to be state testing grades, you said, right?
Yeah.
Like pass testing, SC ready.
Yes.
Those grades and subject.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Or
Thank
EOC,
you both so much. I appreciate it.
EOC testing or something of that nature. Yes. Okay. Angela, did I?
Hello, Dr. Revis. I was added late to your class as well. I am on a Zoom team, but I haven't received the link to upload my information.
Okay, you can find that link. I think it's under where we first talk about Zoom teams.
Yeah, it's not on mine. I'm looking now.
Okay.
I've refreshed it, and I haven't heard from my coach.
Okay.
And I have a question of when we're doing our school profile, are we using our real school's name or a pseudonym?
You can use your real school's name. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Okay.
You can do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Lashana or Lashana?
Yes. I was talking to Dr. Revis. I was added also, so I'm on that having the same issue to that C12 class. Not talking to the coach and also not being able to access the link.
Okay. Thank you.
Take care of that.
Thank you.
That'll be taken care of.
And then my other question is, my principal is currently on quarantine. So we've sent messages that she's not really, they're dealing with, I guess, somebody from the central office in our building right now.
Okay. And are you allowed to, are you able to talk with her on the phone, or can you Zoom with your principal? Or if that's not feasible, then work with the central office person at this point.
Okay, I'll try to reach out to her first, and then I'll
just work with that. Just work with whoever is in charge at this point.
Okay.
Okay, I see D. Spates.
Yes, sir. My question is like the last two. I was added late and I don't have a coaching assignment in my email.
Okay.
And I don't have the link.
Revis, have you got that information?
I do.
She's going to take care of that.
Thank you.
And then thank y'all for telling us this, because we can fix it fast for you. Okay.
Hi, it's Shelly again.
Okay.
I'm the same. I don't have a coaching. I just emailed you as well.
Okay, thank you, Shelly.
Okay. Are there others that came in at the last minute that needs Dr. Revis to look at this information for you? Anybody else? Okay.
Hi, it's Cherie Feemster. I do have a Zoom team, but I do not have information from a coach.
Okay. She's going to fix that for you, though. Thanks, Cherie. Okay.
That was me as well. I'm Racine
You got it. Okay, good. Thanks, Racine. Okay, Tanya.
Hi, this is Tanya Arrington. Yes, I haven't received an email as of yet.
From your coach, Coach CC1, Tanya, and that
Correct.
and all of you, they may not have, and we'll contact Dr. Lamb because you were registered at the last. He may not have gotten that information out there, but we will take care of this immediately for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tanya.
I have another question. I'm sorry. So when you see the Zoom teams on the Blackboard, underneath where you were showing us where the Zoom teams are, there was another icon saying for your information, like your name and everything. I don't see that on my Blackboard.
Okay.
Okay, I'll check that, Shelley.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, who have I missed? Have I missed answering anybody that had their hand raised? These are all good. These are all good questions. Thank you for letting us know how to fix it, because we want it to start out right for you.
I have one more question.
Sure.
This is Sharif Feimster again.
Okay.
For the Zoom teams, I don't know if I missed this in the middle of the meeting. What is the actual purpose for our Zoom teams? Like, what are we actually meeting for, or what is this particular group set together for? If I need a little clarity on that.
Okay, Dr. Ravis.
Okay, two purposes. You have a Zoom team and then you have a peer review team. They're the same team. So most of the time with that team, you are going to be providing feedback on each other's work. All right. And then you're going to do some Zooming. We have some assignments where you Zoom with each other to talk about the work and to talk about your learning experiences. And then you have to Zoom on some case studies. So it's peer feedback and collaborative discussion, I would say.
And these dates that these will take place will also be are they in the syllabus, or is it something that will be announced?
They're not in the syllabus. We will tell you, you have to have your Zoom team done by a certain date. As far as where you're doing the collaborative discussions, but your peer reviews are due. You will see that in the course syllabus when your peer reviews are due.
Cherie, and then we'll talk about this more. Somebody on that team each time, whenever there is a peer review assignment that the group must come together, somebody will take the lead and they'll become the Zoom master. They'll take the responsibility for setting up the Zoom a time when everybody can come on. They'll be responsible for turning it into a YouTube video, uploading the video, and then sending it back to each of the team members so that it can be submitted for a part of the grade that goes in. But the team, if there's 4 or 5 people, there's enough activities over the course of the semester that everybody in the team should have an opportunity to be the Zoom master and have to take responsibility and the leadership role in that over the semester. But that's not going to come the actual. You will begin peer reviewing in the next couple of weeks, but that won't require the team coming together. That will not come until probably about maybe four weeks from now. But we'll talk about that closer to the time and let you know when you must come together as a Zoom team and do the video portion of it.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. Okay, other questions?
I have one that's more specific to my situation as well. I am also a facilitator, and I have done a lot of summer work with the principal already based on our school data. So he has essentially already given me the PLC that I need to work with based on our school data. Will that be acceptable, or do I have to recreate?
No, and again, when you write this up, Racine, you need to show it as, don't necessarily go back and say it's an, go ahead and just talk about it as a new PLC, because it is pretty new because the school year is just starting.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And you will also have to talk about how the PLC conducted that analysis of the data and came up with the most pressing need. Okay.
And that won't come into a task 2. We haven't
Right.
got into that yet. Okay, other questions? These are good questions.
I have another question. I apologize because I already asked a question.
You're okay, Lauren.
While you guys were talking, I was looking more into the task 1. So there's a place in and helpful hints where it talks about your heading is the PLC meeting, and it says there are resources in the course shell to assist with this process. And I saw the template and the example. Are you guys going to talk more specifically on Thursday about like what specifics should be in that section? Only because I didn't find, I see the example, but the example is more detailed than what I was seeing from what I'm finding so far for instructions.
If you will look in your weekly, in the weekly sessions, you're going to find a lot of resources there that you can use. And we will share those with you. We don't go over all of them in class, but there should be some other resources there on your PLCs.
Okay. One of the things, Lauren, we provide you in 601 with a lot of resources, but we don't give you all the resources because that's going to be part of the student's responsibility as well in the research portion to find things for themselves once we get them started. So we don't give you everything. We give you enough to help you get started. But we'll guide that. And again, I think after Thursday, some of your questions that you've got, I think a lot of those will be answered after we go over some things on Thursday. Other questions?
I'm Amber Billings. Sorry to interrupt, but I have a unique situation. I'm in the process of moving schools.
Okay.
But I'm being held for 30 days. So, do I start my PLCs at my current school?
What do you know where you're going?
I do, and it's a totally different county. It's where I live.
When is your 30 days up?
September 16th.
Do you know the principal there very well?
At the new school, yes.
I would go ahead and communicate with my principal. I would say, this is my situation. You go ahead and get permission from them. You go ahead and allow your principal to help you decide who's going to be on your team. You go ahead and set up a virtual meeting with them.
Okay.
And do a Zoom meeting with him and handle everything that you need to handle virtually until you can actually get to the school.
Okay, so
you need to use your new school.
Okay. Okay. So, and so pretty much set up a PLC with the new school. So just meet virtually with them, correct?
Yes. And I think you talk with your principal and your principal will work with you. And actually your principal probably will join in the meeting, or either the assistant principal. I would ask if one of them could be a part of the meeting.
Okay. He went through this program, so he knows about it.
You'll be fine then. Who is your principal?
The new principal is Jeff Maglio.
Jeff, I don't remember Jeff anyway, but that's okay. If he's been through the program, you'll be fine.
Okay. And then also I was added late as well. And so I haven't heard from my coach either.
Okay. And which group are you in, Amber?
Dr. Revis.
Dr. Revis got her name.
I got it.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Amber. Other questions?
I'm sorry, this is Cherie Famster again. One more.
You're okay.
Miss Amber just re-triggered my mind. I actually met with Mr. Stone, and I let him know that my supervisor had changed. I did change schools, but this change happened already, so I'm already placed there. but I hadn't changed my information. Would this be a hindrance of anything? I did submit the form already, but I don't know if that change has to happen before.
Which group are you in, Cherie, in C12?
No, I am. I think it's
C4.
Yes.
Okay,
four,
Dr.
yeah.
Dr. Revis will help you. You'll have to, it's just a simple go on Blackboard. Either one of us can do it, but you reach out to either of us and we can help you go on Blackboard and tell you where you go in and make that supervisor change. It's
So
just,
I've already done it. Mr. Stone helped.
if you've done it already, then you're clear.
good. Yeah,
Okay.
you're good to go.
Good to go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, other questions? Okay, well, this has been good, but we're gonna call it good night and we will see you on Thursday. And thank you for hanging in there with us. Again, go back to what Dr. Revis and I have said. Give us the 3 or 4 weeks and I promise you all of this is gonna come together and it will begin like clockwork for you. You'll figure it all out. It'll come together. Okay.
Good night, guys.
Good night,
Thank you
everybody.
all so much.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you all.
Good night.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.